Good afternoon, world leaders. It is my distinct pleasure and indeed an honor to be here for the second time in the One Young World Summit of Leaders. Now we are going to address, we have seen this morning throughout the three sessions how rewarding and yet difficult the road to peace is. We are now going to turn to a peacemaker, that is President Cerezo, to mentor and show us the way of how to build that peace. President Cerezo chose the road to peace when he was very young. He was almost a millennial when he became head of state. And being head of state, he imperiled his life for what he believed, which was to bring peace to Guatemala. President Cerezo now has become a soldier of development by accepting the post of Secretary General of the Central American Integration System. And the inspiration he drove last year from all of you has led him to create a new program that we are going to see in 30 seconds, because the inspiration he drove for you leads him to believe that he has now to lead a young army of soldiers in the development battle that, as Pope Paul VI said, development is the new name for peace. Please roll the video.
Después de los históricos acuerdos de paz de Esquipulas, en 1991 reafirmamos nuestro compromiso integracionista con la creación del Sistema de la Integración Centroamericana SICA, constituido por Guatemala, Belice, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panamá y República Dominicana, teniendo como objetivo la construcción de una región de paz, libertad, democracia y desarrollo, en la que tengamos más y mejores oportunidades para todos. 20.2 millones de jóvenes centroamericanos son los que forman parte de los 1.800 millones de jóvenes que alberga el mundo en su totalidad. Es decir, que el 35% de la población de los países del SICA es joven. Por ello, Centroamérica como región joven tiene la férrea convicción sobre la importancia de generar oportunidades y espacios a la juventud, para potenciar el desarrollo social y económico de nuestros pueblos. En nuestro plan de trabajo 2017-2021 hemos establecido la importancia de privilegiar una visión de inclusión social para acortar nuestras brechas generacionales y, en particular, en la igualdad y equidad de género. Brindar mejores oportunidades a las juventudes, como también a los pueblos originarios y a los grupos poblacionales tradicionalmente excluidos. En ese sentido, desde la Secretaría General del SICA queremos trabajar en la creación de la unidad SICA Joven, a través de la cual aspiramos a generar una mejor articulación de las instancias regionales, gobiernos, empresas privadas y organizaciones de la sociedad civil, para que en un esfuerzo regional concurrente y participativo, todos y todas sumemos esfuerzos para una mayor cohesión social capaz de traducirse en un nuevo modelo de desarrollo. Con ese fin, buscaremos coordinar nuestros esfuerzos con el Foro Centroamericano de Juventudes, con la aspiración de transformarlo en un Consejo Ministerial de Juventudes del SICA. Sistema de la Integración Centroamericana, SICA.
On behalf of all the youth in Central America, we thank you, President Cerezo, for this new program you are sponsoring within SICA. Now, since this session is meant to mentor these young leaders who are going to become soon peacemakers, could you please tell us what are the principal ingredients of peace?
Well, first I have to say thanks to you and for the young leaders here, because you are going to continue the working we are going to have. But from myself, the most important ingredients to reach peace is conviction, commitment, and vision for a better society. Maybe this is the most important thing to have.
What led you to choose the road to peace? Was it difficult? Were you supported by your party, your family, your friends?
Well, I have to tell you that my country was, when I began my political career, I was in the university. And the country had, at that time, 36 years under war. And from the university, I have to understand that it was impossible to me to live in that kind of country, and I had to do something to avoid my family, my sons, my children, to live in that country in that way. That's why I decided to begin, like I said, the long-term resistance for democracy. And to get this, we decided to organize ourselves, to look peace, trying to work together with all the people who reject the guns, reject the confrontation, and want to go fighting, but in some other ways. Organizing ourselves, thinking in democracy, and creating conscience in the people, like I said, trying to create in the people the conviction, the commitment, and the vision for a better society without violence and without confrontation.
What led you to choose peace as a priority for your government?
Well, excuse me again?
What led you to choose peace as a priority for your government?
Well, when I arrived to the presidency, I was sure that neither the guerrilla or the army wanted to get the peace because they were involved in the traditional ideological confrontation in the country. And I decided to work for peace because I realized that the only way to build a better society in benefit of our people, we had to stop the war because the war, it was a good business for the people who sell us the guns, but for us it was a really bad business because we put the people who died in the confrontation. And then I was sure that if we continue working, we continue fighting, we couldn't make development to resolve our social and traditional problems and to get the people the opportunities to have a better society. I always wanted to do something different for my country. And that's why I decided to propose to the other presidents in Central America a meeting for discuss an agreement to stop the generalization of the country in the region and to get peace-making agreements and diminish the confrontation. The presidents discussed with me all together how we could make it. And we decided to sign those agreements that were nominated Esquipulas I and Esquipulas II. And in those agreements, we begin the finish of the war, stop the confrontation, and consolidate institutional democracy, and certainly the beginning of the peace process that got 10 years still discussing the different conditions to finish the war and to begin a new era for Central America.
And I must say that by doing so, President Cerezo spared the life of 500,000 young Central Americans, because had the war continued at the pace it was going, 500,000 young people would have died in Central America.
Well,
Okay.
maybe it's very, very important to say that before I being president, I had many opportunities to could be killed by the repressive groups in our country. And I have to remember that many of my friends died. Many of the leaders who teach me that we should to work in favor of democracy were killed at that time. And I had to decide how I had to choose in between the war, the arms, or between the long process to get democracy in the near future. And in that decision, well, I received a lot of killing attempts against my life. But the Dr. Calvani, one of the teachers I had in politics, told me, Vinicio, you have to make decisions if you really want to build peace and to build democracy in your country. And the decision it was, well, if I want to fight for democracy, if I want to get democracy and get peace, I have to accept that I could lose my life. And I decide also to get my family out of the country because in many times the repressive groups attack myself even in my home. And I send my family outside the country, and we decide to continue working in the countryside and the cities in agreement with my friends, and many of them were killed. And I have to say, thanks God, because they never could kill me, and then we succeed in getting the possibilities to arrive to the presidency in a big movement of people asking for elections and asking for peace despite violence, and we got it. And we arrived to the presidency despite all of this dangerous situation. And I tell you, it is true that even today, the defense of human rights, political participation in many parts of the world endangers life. But 40 years ago, each of these decisions means signing the death certificate. Therefore, although as a generation we have failed to do more for you, I can convince that we have done much to enable you to fight for your dreams in a better way, in better conditions today. At the time when my generation was beating on social changes, everything was provocation to death. When I decided to participate in politics and seek peace and democracy, I knew that my life no longer belonged to me. That is a compromise that had to be assumed if you wanted to try to change the things. This is the real things. But the things have changed already in my country, but in many ways continued being in the same way. So most of my life, I've been living at risk, but it always seemed to me that the ideals I dreamed for were superior, and I'm willing to give my life, if it's necessary, for all those goals I propose to.
Thank you so much, President Cerezo. You truly are a role model. Now, we are all going to stand, and I'm going to ask you to please all repeat with me. We, the participants of One Young World 2017,
the participants of One Young World 2017,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that we shall become
that we shall become
peacemakers
peacemakers
in our communities and countries,
in our communities and countries,
by supporting and healing
by supporting and healing
those who suffer,
those who suffer,
in order to
in order to
increase their well-being,
increase the well-being,
which is the new name of peace.
which is the new name of peace.
And in order to protect and seal this vow, we are going to have Kate as the guardian. we are going to give her the bracelet of peace of the Comanche Nation, which is one of the original nations of my country of adoption, the United States of America.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, David.
Thank you. And let me tell you something to finish. A bad peace always is better than a good war. And especially I have to say something more. Peace is the way to do the things. Thank you very much for all of you.